In the city of Portland, Oregon, where the rain often painted the streets with a reflective glow, lived a woman named Laura Bennett. She was 41 years old, a hard-working single mother, and a high school guidance counselor who had always put others before herself. Laura's days were filled with listening to her students' struggles, offering them guidance, and reminding them that their futures held promise. Yet, when she returned home at night, she often felt a quiet emptiness. She had been divorced for 5 years, raising her only son, Ethan, now 16, on her own. Ethan was bright, kind, and always attentive to his mother's feelings, often noticing when she was tired or overwhelmed. He had become her anchor, the reason she kept going, even when she felt exhausted from carrying life's burdens alone. One rainy evening, after a long day at school, Laura sat in the kitchen, sipping tea while the sound of raindrops tapped against the window. Ethan walked in, his backpack slung over his shoulder, and noticed the faraway look in her eyes. "Mom," he said softly, "you always tell me to follow my dreams, to do what makes me happy. But what about you? Don't you think you deserve to be happy too?" His words stopped her in her tracks. She looked at her son, surprised, realizing how deeply he understood her. "Ethan, my happiness is seeing you grow up strong and kind," she said. But Ethan shook his head. "That's not enough, Mom. You're always giving to everyone else. But you should get to smile for yourself too." That night, Laura lay awake, thinking about his words. For years, she had convinced herself that her duty as a mother came first, that her time for joy had passed. But Ethan's sincerity planted a seed of hope inside her. Maybe she could allow herself to dream again. A week later, while working late at the school office, Laura met a man named David Carter, the new English teacher who had just moved from Seattle. David was in his mid-40s, warm, approachable, with a natural kindness that drew people to him. He asked Laura for help settling into the school, and they began talking about their work, their students, and eventually about life outside of school. Laura found herself smiling in a way she hadn't in years. David noticed it too. Over the following weeks, their conversations became a daily rhythm. Sharing coffee in the mornings, chatting about lesson plans, or walking to their cars together in the evening. Slowly, Laura began to feel a spark of something she had almost forgotten existed: connection. Ethan noticed the change in his mother. One night, as they cooked dinner together, he asked with a grin, "So, you've been smiling a lot more lately. Does this have something to do with Mr. Carter?" Laura laughed, feeling her cheeks warm. "Ethan," she said, playfully nudging him, "you're too observant." Ethan smiled knowingly. "Mom, it's okay. I like seeing you happy." Encouraged by her son's support, Laura allowed herself to spend more time with David. They went for coffee at a small cafe downtown, strolled through Portland's Saturday market, and once even attended a community theater play together. Laura felt alive again, as though a part of her soul had been reawakened. But along with the joy came fear. One evening, as she sat with David at a park bench overlooking the river, she admitted her worries. "I've spent so long being just Mom and Counselor Bennett. I don't even know if I remember how to be just Laura." David looked at her kindly. "You don't have to figure it out all at once. Just be yourself. That's enough." His words echoed the same reassurance Ethan had given her, that she deserved happiness too. Yet not everyone understood. When Laura mentioned to a colleague that she had gone out for coffee with David, she received a raised eyebrow and a subtle comment about moving on too soon. Those words lingered, stirring guilt in her heart. But when she shared her doubts with Ethan, he reached across the table, held her hand, and said, "Mom, you've been strong for me for years. Now it's your turn. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for wanting to be happy." With Ethan's encouragement, Laura slowly began to embrace this new chapter of her life. She still devoted herself to her students, still came home to cook dinner with her son, but now she allowed space for herself too. Over time, her connection with David deepened. They bonded over books, laughter, and shared values. Laura realized she was not just surviving anymore. She was living. Months passed, and as spring bloomed in Portland, Laura found herself standing in her backyard, looking at the flowers she had planted. Ethan joined her, slipping an arm around her shoulder. "See, Mom," he said with a smile. "I told you. You deserve this." Laura's eyes softened. She knew now that happiness didn't mean she had to stop being a devoted mother or a caring counselor. It simply meant remembering that she, too, was worthy of love, joy, and self-discovery. And it all began with the words of her son, who reminded her of something she had forgotten. She deserved to be happy too.